What is going on, everybody? It is your guy Jameson with Two Tone Station. How are we doing on this beautiful Friday? TGIF. Hallelujah! Praise the Lord! I'm not a choir singer, but we made it. Friday, it's finally here. I don't know about y'all, but I have been ready for this week to be over and for the weekend to be here. It is finally here. I'm excited about it. Final preseason game on Sunday against the Saints. Get to see the starters in action a little bit. Super duper pumped for this season. I'm ready to roll, guys. I am ready to roll. So today I decided to switch it up a little bit, and instead of looking at the press conference from Brian Callahan yesterday, which I'm probably going to end up recording anyway, this video popped up in my feed today, and it said, "Is Will Levis the next Josh Allen or Blake Bortles?" They baited me, y'all, and I fucking bit. I took the bait. I haven't seen this yet, but just based on the title, this one could probably get my blood pressure up a little bit. So I'm hoping that isn't the case. I don't know, but we're about to find out. I definitely hope we don't trend in the direction of Blake Bortles, just because I think that's really stupid for a variety of reasons. And if I have to, I'll give you those reasons that I think that's super stupid. Super stupid. But before we dive into the video, if you guys don't mind, if you are enjoying these videos, if you have had a good time hanging out, please go ahead and like the video, subscribe to the channel. The more the merrier. If you have any comments to drop throughout the video, make sure you do so in the comments section, and any recommendations on videos you think I'd like, anything you guys, I guess, would like to hear, I'm open for it. I kind of just go down a rabbit hole each and every day and see where it leads me. So I would love for you guys to join me. And without any further ado, let us go ahead and jump into this video. And so that I don't do anybody any disrespect, I just want to give a shout out to the person that I'm probably going to end up super mad at, and this would be MTN Productions. That is MTN Productions. So if you guys want to get after anybody, go ahead and get after that guy. So let's jump in. I'm nervous. I don't want to have a bad Friday night. Not that this shit would ruin my Friday night anyway, but it's definitely going to make me mad if we're talking nonsense. So simmer down. Let's go.
Season may be the one and only chance that Will Levis has. This 2024 season may be the one and only chance that Will Levis has to prove he's a franchise quarterback. I mean, think about it. There's no first-round pick investment attached to him. There's a new head coach in Tennessee, and it's not like young quarterbacks are given a long leash in the modern NFL. When you looked at Will Levis coming out of Kentucky, the guy had everything you needed to succeed in a physical sense. Listed at 6'4", 229 pounds, there really are no physical limitations to his game. To make things better, he has the arm you would imagine to match that frame. But as the video title suggests, it's not just about the size of the quarterback. We've seen plenty of quarterbacks with ideal statures that do not...
Not even gonna make a comment. Not even gonna make a comment I want to make, but there's a certain ex-girlfriend that knows all about his size. I'm just saying. What?
pan out in the NFL. Guys as recently as Trey Lance and Justin Fields, who had everything you wanted from a physical standpoint, but couldn't do the little things needed in order to succeed at the next level. And then there were the older examples like a Blake Bortles, a Jameis Winston, or a Josh Freeman. Sorry, Buccaneers fans. But the $1,000,000
I see this comparison to Jameis Winston all the time, and I can see it. Okay, he's got like a super big arm, but Jameis had so much hype around him coming out of Florida State. I don't know, man. It's hard for me to compare Will Levis to the first overall pick, right? I mean, am I wild for that? To think that the expectations should be slightly different? And I don't know. Maybe that's just me, but I think it's silly to compare him to Jameis Winston. I think it's silly to compare him to Josh Freeman or Trey Lance or Justin Fields. Dude, what? What? Like, I'm trying to wrap my head around that, like literally internally. I don't know if you guys could see my gears turning and maybe some smoke coming out because I'm like trying to internalize that. Like, I'm trying to envision a world where Justin Fields and Will Levis are like that Spider-Man meme where they're pointing at each other. But that's just, I think that's stupid. Josh Allen, I get is going to be the good comparison, but let's not forget that Josh Allen didn't come in and light the NFL on fire. Neither did Peyton Manning or Eli Manning or Steve McNair. Like, not everybody is just going to hit the... Never mind. Let's keep going. We're only, 57 seconds in, and I'm already over here moaning.
Question for Levis is, will he be one of those guys I just listed who had their fun moments but never amounted to anything? Or can he reach the heights of a Josh Allen and Justin Herbert and be regarded as one of the better quarterbacks in the game, who just happens to have great size?
Let's go!
While we may not have the answer to that question yet, one thing, however, we know for sure is the Titans did everything in their power this offseason to ensure that Levis will have enough around him in order to succeed, which is the right thing to do, especially while your quarterback is still on his rookie deal. Or else you'll end up like the Giants or Jets, pointing the finger at every other reason why the quarterback isn't doing well until there are no more excuses left to be made. But
it's funny how many people out there are like, what are the Titans doing? They're signing all these old washed receivers and spending all this money when they're not going to be contenders. Boy, shut your mouth.
Getting into the player side of things, the Titans did the number one thing they could do to propel Will Levis's career. Aside from moving on from Mike Vrabel at head coach, who's known as a defensive-minded coach, the Titans also moved on from offensive coordinator Tim Kelly. Kelly was...
Those stupid-ass sideline looks that we would get from Vrabel, man, looking all constipated and stuff. Holy cow. I'm not going to say I miss those or will miss those.
Given 1 year to call plays following the release of Todd Downing, who called the Titans offense in 2021 and 2022.
Todd Drowning.
While Kelly wasn't awful and tried to bring a more modern approach to a Titans offense that really needed it, there were still some shortcomings. His offense was too predictable at times, but in fairness to him, it's not like the 2023 Titans were stacked with talent. But in January, the Titans made a head coaching hire.
Okay, but whose fault is that? That's what I want to know. Like, whose fault is that? Okay, John Robinson. I got it. He effed the pooch, man. I got it. Trading A.J. Brown. I got it. We take frickin' Dez Fitzpatrick, man, over some real talented wide receivers. Some real Amon-Ra. What? I get it. John Robinson was an asshat, especially towards the end of his tenure. He came in and did a pretty solid job, but it's like the Mike Vrabel situation. He came in, did well to begin with, and it works until it doesn't anymore. And I feel like John Robinson got himself overly confident in his abilities, and that bit him in the ass because it sounds like he wasn't a very collaborative person. It was like his way or the highway. He saw things how he saw it, and that's how he saw it. But what is Mike Vrabel? Mike Vrabel seems very much the same. It was a perfect marriage of those two until it wasn't, right? And now that you bring in Rand Carthon, who's more new agey and more about collaboration and more about cohesiveness and having like an open door policy, not saying Vrabel didn't, but like having an open door policy where everybody can come around and talk to everybody and everybody feels comfortable with everybody. There have been multiple times busting with the boys. They say it all the time. You walk around with a tight butthole when Vrabel's around, and there's a reason. Because you don't mess with Vrabel, and Vrabel's the guy who's gonna dig into you if he maybe even if he doesn't have to, he might think it's good for you, and that is not necessarily a bad coaching method, strategy, however you want to term it, but. My point is, Rand Carthon is very different than Mike Vrabel, and their philosophies are very different. So, yes, insert Brian Callahan. Hopefully that will help, right? But it's not, it wasn't all John Robinson. Mike Vrabel also had a hand in the roster. We knew that last year. From what we heard, Andre Dillard was his offseason baby. And how did that work out? There's a reason he's unemployed right now. And, yeah, whose fault is that? That we were lacking talent. So, I mean, I don't like how when I hear these videos, people are like, it wasn't all Mike Vrabel's fault. They didn't have any talent. Okay, sure. But that alone is partially Mike Vrabel's fault in and of itself, in my opinion. So, I don't know. It's all water under the bridge now, but let's see where this goes. Obviously, yes, hiring Brian Callahan was a smart move for Will Levis's development. Newsflash, everyone. I don't think that's a breaking news alert anymore.
Offensive coordinator with the Cincinnati Bengals since 2019. Over there, he accumulated an impressive resume, including a Super Bowl appearance, and helped Jake Browning look pretty good at times in 2023. The Titans offense in 2024.
Pretty good. He led the league in completion percentage when he was starting quarterback. Like, what are we talking about? He looked pretty good. Like, there could have been, oh, brother from another mother.
Or should look somewhat similar to what the Bengals have been doing since Zach Taylor got there. A spread offense, lots of 11 personnel.
This I agree with. I do agree with this. This is the stuff we are going to see.
Is exciting and should be able to
I do think, though, that his run game is going to look. I'd venture to say that it's maybe not going to look vastly different, but I do think it's going to look very different from the run game in Cincinnati. I think he's going to put his own flavor on things. And he did point out, I didn't know this until I heard him say it, they run the ball 75 times through the preseason, which is the most in the NFL through the preseason. Let's see if we can get it to 100, he said, on Sunday. Let's see. So anyway, to all those who think that all we're going to be doing is passing the ball and the run game is a thing of the history, that's not the case. I do think we're going to have a very heavy involvement in the run game, or the run game is going to be heavily involved in our offensive game plan. But it's going to be very different. I think the types of runs we see are going to be very different. Very, very different. And for once in my life, in the last 6 years, I might not be saying ditch the pitch, because we actually got two shifty, fast dudes. I saw TD, Teron Davenport, he posted something, I believe yesterday was the last day of training camp practice for the media, or open to the media. So he said that Tajay hit a hole and got into the secondary in a hurry. And that is music to my ears, because we've been missing that lightning, right? We've had thunder. We've had plenty of thunder for the last 6 years. And I loved me some thunder. Don't get me wrong, El Tractorcito, baby, he's amazing. A Hall of Famer, first ballot Hall of Famer. It freaking pains me to see him in that purple uniform. Ugh, it disgusts me, but I mean, what can you do? I can't say, I know this has been like a huge topic over like Titans social media, Titans Twitter, Titans Facebook. I can't say that I'm going to, like, I don't wish Derrick Henry any ill will, and I do hope that he reaches his personal goals each and every year without the Ravens being successful. And a lot of you will say, well, that's impossible. If Derrick Henry's successful, the Ravens are successful, which I would probably agree with, but there is a world where they get to the playoffs and they're bounced first round. What happened against the Titans? What was it, 3-4 years ago? What happened against the Titans? I'm just curious. I'll remind you, the Ravens were a first seed, the number 1 seed in the AFC. They had a bye week. The Titans came to town and put an immediate stop to that. Same shit could happen. Wish Derrick Henry the best. And I love that man. No diddy. But we got two lightning bolts back there now, and I'm so excited about that because we can use the screen game, we can use the zone, we can do the zone run game. Golly, I'm stumbling over my words. Not to mention all the spread offense that we're gonna run, because those dudes are also threats out of the backfield. And when you're running spread offenses, you can really, as a quarterback, see the field, see the defense, diagnose the defense. And then you got guys, there's going to be a lot of motions, a lot of guys moving around in this offense because we're trying. I've heard Brian Callahan talk about it multiple times where he's talking about it's a matchup league. And we are trying to, obviously, it's a chess match, and we're trying to pretty much put guys on offense in position to succeed, but more so putting them in positions to where the defense can, we can take advantage of the defense. They can be taken advantage of, which I think is really cool. It's kind of the same with like Denard, where he's almost like, we're going to be multiple. We're going to get out there. We're going to see how the offense lines up, and we're going to adjust as necessary. And I think that's super duper cool because in this league now, it's unpredictable. And so being predictable, like this guy has talked about, I'll give him that. We have been predictable. And that's not Will Levis' fault either.
Out of Will Levis. It also helps knowing that the Sean McVay coaching tree has had positive returns so far, which is where Zach Taylor came from. Now onto the personnel side of things, where the Titans really opened up their wallet on the offensive side of the ball this offseason. Maybe the biggest surprise of free agency was when the Titans swooped in last minute and signed Calvin Ridley to a 4-year, $92 million contract. Ridley, who missed a year
Sorry,
and a half
Jags
of game
fans,
action
and don't tell me you're not upset about it because how much
came
you
back
guys
in
have been in people's mentions.
I don't believe you. In Jacksonville. In total, he tallied 76 catches, just over 1,000 yards, and 8 touchdowns. And as we know from that montage of dropped touchdowns, he definitely should have had a better season.
Bruh.
Come on now.
Bruh.
We get it. He dropped. Bruh. We get it. I understand that. Nobody likes to add context, though, to these things. And it pisses me off because dude hadn't played football in 2 years. Bruh. What the fuck do you expect him to do? The man still put up a 1,000-yard season, his first time playing professional football in 2 years. Dude, I'm over this shit with Calvin Ridley, and I cannot wait until that man shuts these nice people up. Can't wait.
Bruh.
Another concerning stat was the lack of efficiency,
guy
as
draped all
Ridley
over him.
ranked 49th among wideouts and yards per route run, sandwiched right between Adam Thielen and Jerry Jeudy. Not the best company. While Ridley is soon to be 30, he's still one of the better wide receiver twos in the entire NFL at this point. Now, Tennessee did lose the man who had been their...
Let's keep pointing out the fact that he's 30 years old, like it's gonna make a difference, or like it's, oh my God, he's an old ass man, he's 30. again, revert to the last comment. The man didn't play professional football for 2 years. May as well put his ass in a cryo chamber for 2 years. Froze his ass. Thawed him out and boom, put up a 1,000-yard season. What the hell? And then you want to talk about he's going to be probably the best wide receiver, too, in the league. Calvin Ridley is a wide receiver 1. Wide receiver 1. And you know what's beautiful? People want to say, nah, that's D-Hop. Okay. The Tennessee Titans have 2 wide receiver number 1s. Get over it.
Their offensive engine since 2018, which of course was Derrick Henry, but they tried to bring in a different style of back to supplement the loss. Heading into 2023, the hype around Tony Pollard was loud. He was probably a first-round pick
Way
in fantasy
overhyped.
leagues last
Way
year,
overhyped.
and everybody was excited to see what he could do with Ezekiel Elliott out of the picture. While he did play in every game coming off an injury and just squeaked by the 1,000-yard rushing mark, his efficiency cratered. Coming into last season, Pollard's yards per attempt on the ground was a tremendous 5.
Okay, so let's look at this right here. All right. Let's just see what we see from 2019 to 2023, right? 2019, 86 carries, 455 yards, 2 touchdowns, 5.3 average. 2020, 101 carries, 435 yards, 4 touchdowns, 4.3 average. His stats dropped a little bit. They dipped. Touchdowns went up, but they dipped. Okay? A little bit more, it looks like, receiving yards. 2021, 130 carries, 719 yards, 5.5 per clip, 2 touchdowns, 39, looks like receptions. And I can't see how many receiving yards he had because for some reason we didn't include that. I guess we're only interested in rushing, so we'll just stick with that. 2022. 193 carries, 1,007 yards, 5.2 average, 9 touchdowns, 39 receptions. This is when everybody thought TP could be a bell cow running back, a workhorse running back, the primary back, the feature back in the Dallas Cowboys offense. It was after this performance in this season that old man Jerry Jones decided to run with Tony Pollard as the premier back. Along with that, like everything else the Cowboys do, it gets unwarranted hype. And so they were hyping TP up so bad, and the expectations were so high for Tony Pollard that it was almost like a mountain he was never going to be able to climb. No matter, what he did, he would have had to have had an outstanding season to have satisfied the expectations that he had. So anyway, let's roll into 2023 last season with the Cowboys. His carries went from 193 to 252, so almost, what is that, 3/4, I would say, almost, it's not quite 75, we'll say. I don't know if that's accurate, but it's somewhere in that neighborhood, right? Yards, 1,005, average 4.0, and 6 touchdowns with 55 receptions. I'd really like to see what the receiving yards were last year. It's actually going to bother me. Of course, I do not have my phone near me, and I don't feel like looking it up right now on this computer. So let's just look at what we got. But I am going to go look at that after this is because I'm curious to see what his receiving yards were for 2023. But 252 attempts and 1,005 yards with a 4.0 average. Obviously, yes, his statistics dipped. Statistically, he declined. But I think, again, the expectations were way too high. And it was a mountain he wasn't going to be able to climb. I think he is not the type of running back physically to be a bell cow running back. I think he is a tremendous complementary running back. really, really do. And when I say complimentary, I don't necessarily mean you have to have somebody like Derrick Henry, who is that thunder to your lightning. I think he can complement any back that is back there with him, really, truthfully. And so when he's able to split the workload and then the defense, can't hone in on him alone, I think it helps his performance and it helps his overall stats. I personally think that actually the 2022 line is probably going to be somewhat similar to what we see this year in Tennessee, in my opinion. I do. I think he's going to have anywhere between like 175 and say around 175. I'm not even going to say. I think that would be it, around that mark. And I do think he's going to eclipse. I think he'll get over that 1,000-yard mark. And I do think he's going to have... I'm going to go out on a limb and say that he will have 8 touchdowns in 2024. I hope that he has more. But because he will be splitting with Tajay, and Tajay is a freaky, slippery, like Jimmy John's, freaky fast type of running back. And I think he is also going to get into the end zone quite a few times. So I do think his stat line is going to be closer to 2022, though, personally, while he's on the Titans. But anyway, let's see what this Joker's got to say.
5.1. Last year, though, it was just 4 flat, a full yard below his career average. It's possible that the hip drop tackle that ended his 2022 season had something to do with that, but before that moment, he was one of the more explosive players in the league. Now nearly 2 years removed from that.
It's possible that this season-ending injury could have carried forward a little bit now that you've become this workhorse bell cow running back and taking the full load of the Dallas Cowboys running back room and the majority of the carries in the backfield. Yeah, I guess that hip drop tackle that ruined your entire season could have had something to do with it. Like, what are we talking about? People are...
injury, the Titans expect him to get back to that player he once was. Their other big move for a skill position player was adding a receiver that was pretty familiar with the new head coach Brian Callahan. From 2019 to 2023, Tyler Boyd played slot receiver for the Bengals, while Callahan was the offensive coordinator. Boyd is not the flashiest receiver, but he's always been a solid player in the NFL. In 7 of his first 8 NFL seasons, Boyd's had at least 600 receiving yards and went over 1,000 yards in 2 of them. He'll more than likely be their slot guy who gets to play in a system he's familiar with. In 2023, the Titans' offensive line ranked dead last in the NFL according to PFF. The Andre Dillard thing did not work out, and Jalen Duncan behind him was just as bad when he filled in. They did what they could to make the line better in 2024, including spending a top
They did what they could with their offensive line. I don't know. They only went out and, signed the best safety in the free agent market. Signed probably arguably the second best tackle in the draft. Have arguably, the best guard from last year's draft on the left side. I don't know. They did what they could. I mean, meh. Dude, this is the kind of stuff, man. Because I guarantee at the end of this video, there's going to be like every single video I've seen, it's like, this is why it won't work. Like, they've added all this talent, but here's why it's not going to work. And then at the very end of the video, they're like, oh, but this is why he's poised to have so much success and potentially break out during the season. Like, it's so ridiculous, man.
10 draft pick on J.C. Latham, who's expected to be the left tackle. Peter Skoronski, who's been playing left guard for them, was taken 11th overall the year prior, and they signed Lloyd Cushenberry at center in free agency. They did lose right guard Sadiq Charles to an unexpected retirement, but the hope is that drafted tackle Dylan Radins can win that job. As for Levis himself, there are things he should keep doing from last year, but he may have to dial it back just a bit, and maybe more than a bit. For instance, Will Levis threw a deep pass on 22% of his attempts from last season. The next closest guy was not really that close at all. Nick Mullins was at 16%.
We get it. He played a lot of hero ball, but can you blame him given the circumstances? I mean, really.
While taking deep shots and taking chances results in some high upside explosive plays, he still needs to dial it back a bit. When almost a quarter of your passes are over 20 yards,
when over a quarter of your passes are over 20 yards, but we won't mention the fact that we really don't ever pass the ball, so that number is really skewed. If we actually pass the ball at a regular rate like any other normal offense, it probably wouldn't look so bad. Do I agree that he played hero ball? Yes. Does he need to be less reckless with it? Yes. 100%. Do I want him to dial it back? Nope. I don't. I do not, as long as he can take the check down. But if it's there, you take the freaking shot, man. I don't care if these guys are mad that a quarter of your passes are deep shots. If you can hit them, and you're gonna hit them, shit, take them.
You're being way too aggressive. On the bright side though, Levis did rank second in the NFL among all quarterbacks in catchable pass rate on deep balls. So it wasn't like he was just throwing up.
Oh my God, so tell me this. That's so wild to me. He needs to dial it back. But he's being like way too aggressive. But he did rank second. 2. It's not a 7. 2. He ranked second in the NFL. Second in catchable deep balls. But nah, he needs to tone it down. Yeah, dial it back a little bit, guy. Yeesh. Too aggressive. It's way too aggressive, man. But oh, by the way, he was second in the NFL, and it's not like he's just lobbing up passes. This guy, every video I see, they contradict themselves so freaking much because they just spew diarrhea at the mouth.
Some BS. When it came to the intermediate passing game, which is defined as a pass from 10 to 19 yards, Levis had an abysmal completion rate. He ranked dead last out of 41 quarterbacks who qualified, right below Bailey Zappi and Tommy DeVito. On short passes though, he was way more respectable, ranking 24th out of 44 quarterbacks who qualified. This put him.
So what I'm hearing is he's super good at the deep ball. Really efficient with the short pass. Medium game needs work. Let's rewind the video a little bit. Not really, but let's rewind the video a little bit where he's talking about there was no talent around Will Levis. But instead of defending Will Levis, he was defending Mike Vrabel. What? Like, what? So, that plays a huge role in why the intermediate passing game is not hitting. When your receivers can't get any separation, that's a huge problem. D-Hop was like the only dude with the occasional hit from NWI and Chris Moore last season. Outside of those 3 dudes, there was no one else. No one. So yeah, it needs work, but I am not worried about that at all, especially with Brian Callahan in this new system. And considering we're talking 10 to 19 yards is considered intermediate passes, I think that's going to be a lot of Ridley and a lot of, I think they're all going to eat, quite frankly. D-Hop, Ridley, Boyd, I think they're all going to eat. And I would venture to say that Treylon Burks is going to have his best year as a Tennessee Titan. And hopefully, knock on wood, that man can stay healthy. That's what's hindered him the most. Can't get into a groove if you're always injured. If you're always riding the bench, if you're riding the pine, you can't get into a rhythm. And that's been Traylon's biggest fault. It's not that he's not talented. He's got an immense amount of talent, and he's a big physical dude. Now we just need him to stay on the field and get consistent with it.
Ahead of guys like Justin Herbert, Tua Tagovailoa, and Jalen Hurts. It's really a matter of fixing his accuracy on those medium distance throws, and he should look much better. There are the smaller concerns like taking too many sacks for one, but once again, the Titans left tackle spot was the equivalent of asking a random fan to man that spot each game. Going off PFF's
At least
data
he
that tries to
acknowledges
identify
that.
which party's more responsible
At least
for
he
allowing
acknowledges
pressures,
that.
Levis actually ranked very well. Out of 43 quarterbacks, Levis ranked 30.
Even before Levis even got here, we had the Dennis Daly experiment. Oh, dude. And this is what really made me start to dislike Vrabel and his staff. Not Vrabel as a person. Oh, Vrabel. Probably a cool dude. But this is what made me kind of start having issues with him and his staff. Was I felt like we weren't taking it very serious. There were times where I felt like Vrabel kind of dismissed certain position groups like the kicker, and then he wants to go onto a podcast and talk about everybody came to Tennessee and all of a sudden forgot how to kick. Well, I'm sorry, when Craig Ackerman is your special teams coordinator and you don't give a shit about the kicker position, that's kind of what happens. Just saying.
47th in percent of dropbacks where it was his responsibility for allowing pressure. To back up this stat, his teammate Ryan Tannehill also ranked pretty low at number 33 overall. It's even funnier when you sort out the columns by which position allowed the most pressure, and Tennessee's left tackle spot was by far the worst in the NFL. So we have two outliers. Will Levis took deep shots more than anybody else by a wide margin last year, and the Titans had the worst left tackle position in football by far.
Sweet baby Jesus, please let J.C. Latham be a freaking beast and let him hold down the left tackle position for the next 15 years. Amen.
My last concern for Levis is he does not take care of himself. And no, I'm not saying he takes too many late night trips to Taco Bell, but he takes so many unnecessary big hits that you start to worry about his health. Even in the Titans' first preseason game this year, he took a massive hit at the goal line in a game that has no meaningful outcome. We saw this happen to Anthony Richardson last year. Sometimes the best thing to do is just slide and live to play another down. And in most cases for quarterbacks, that is the...
Will Levis ain't no bitch. Anyways, I'm just saying, I do agree. I about died when I saw Will Levis scrambling for the goal line and them two defenders just collapsing on his ass. I was like, bro, please get down, please get down, please get down, please get down. Oh! He didn't get down. That is one thing he definitely needs to learn, is to protect himself. But I also understand that you cannot just extract the competitor out of someone, especially in those heat of the moment situations. You're just going, man. Like, you're not even thinking about it. You're just, that competitive nature in you, it just takes over, and you're doing whatever you got to do to get into the end zone, whether it works or not. In your mind at that time, it's for sure going to work, and then you get crunched. So he's got to be able to kind of forward think a little bit more, have some farsightedness, and and get down and protect himself. I do agree with that. But Will Levis ain't no bitch.
The right thing to do. The more shots he takes, eventually it's going to catch up to him. So to answer the question today, is Will Levis the next Josh Allen or Blake Bortles? While I don't think it's fair to say Josh Allen because that seems pretty unreasonable, I do believe he's way closer to Allen than he is Blake Bortles. The upside to be a top 10 quarterback is there, but this may be his only real shot at achieving that. If his season's cut short due to injury or his accuracy is unplayable, then the Titans will probably be picking highly next year and have their chance to move move
head.
on. They also may want another look at Malik Willis under this coaching staff and under this new scheme, so there's that aspect as well. I'm expecting a pretty good season overall, maybe like a 2019 Josh Allen type
Willis,
of thing,
but
where
let
his
me know
passing
how you
numbers
guys
were
feel
decent,
about Malik
the rushing
Willis in the
numbers were
comments.
definitely above average, and the Bills went 10-6 that year. And maybe instead of that, the Titans will have 8 or 9 wins, but still, it should be a similar season in my opinion. I'm just not expecting that Josh Allen 2020 type breakout, but 2019 was still a respectable season for him. And I know it's one of those intangible things, but it seems like he has that it factor. That big comeback on Monday Night Football at Miami last year. There was the video of him screaming at 11-year veteran DeAndre Hopkins on the sidelines, and he just had...
People were melting on the internet over there, like, what is this rookie doing talking to an 11-year veteran wide receiver and DeAndre Hopkins who knows what the hell he's doing like that? Dude, I'll tell you what he's doing. He's being a freaking leader. That's what he's doing. This is his shot, and he's going to take it. That's what he's doing. He doesn't give a damn who you are. And I understand, like, everything's on camera now, but these things happen in practice, too. It's not like they don't happen in practice. Yeah, he has the it factor. I said that in yesterday's video with the Music City Football, that he's got like this aura that radiates off of him and this confidence that he walks around with that just makes you feel like he can be the guy. Doesn't mean shit until we see the product on the field, but it feels like he can be the guy. I said Tannehill had juice, but he didn't have this aura that radiated off of him. Will Levis has that it factor, and if it can hit on the field... The man put out mayonnaise perfume. If you can pull off mayonnaise smelling perfume, I think you can pull off just about freaking anything, to be honest with you. If you can make that look good and smell good, shit. I got no worries about you on the football field.
Has that I don't give a damn type attitude. There are some candidates who could take a massive leap at quarterback this year, and Levis may be the most overlooked. The excitements for Anthony Richardson, no doubt, Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels, but
Anthony Richardson excitement that in my opinion is 100% unwarranted. The man finished one game. One complete game last season. His statistics were decent, yes. But it doesn't matter if all you can finish is one game. It's totally unwarranted hype for me. Now, CJ Stroud, the hype around him, it's real. He's a real baller. He is. He's a freaking baller, man. And the hype around him is real. I don't know if there's any hype around Trevor Lawrence. It seems like it really only exists amongst the Jaguars fan base. But sometimes I feel like Trevor Lawrence gets more hype than Will Levis. And Trevor Lawrence, we've seen 4 years of, and it hasn't been anything to write home about. Like, nothing spectacular. He's been an above-average quarterback. That's it. Nothing special. But I don't know, man. I understand that Anthony Richardson could definitely be a breakout candidate because he has that like boom or bust potential where if he hits and it's a boom, he's going to hit. He's going to be a baller. I do agree with that. But I think the same can be said for Will Levis, and I agree that he's being completely overlooked in that regard because people have no idea what the Titans are going to be about this year, including us fans. We really don't know. We have an idea, and we're hopeful of what they'll be about, but 2.5 weeks, we're about to find out.
But Levis kind of seems like that forgotten guy. Hopefully he does enough in 2024 to prove he's their long-term answer, because as I said before, 2025 is not guaranteed for this second-round quarterback. That's going to do it for the video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a like and subscribe if you did, and I'll talk to you guys next time. This 2024...
All right, guys, that's going to do it. I mean, there was some stupidness in this video, but I'm glad he didn't say he was going to be the next Blake Bortles. That I am glad about. I do disagree that I don't think that, like, even if he didn't perform well, I don't think, like, he would... I think he'll be on the roster in 2025. Now, if he doesn't perform well, it could mean that they're looking like they're in the market for a quarterback for sure. But I don't necessarily agree that this is his like one and only shot to prove himself. I think it's a really important opportunity and position that he's in right now to do just that. But I don't think that it's like his make or break year necessarily. But it definitely, if it doesn't go well, he's going to have someone else hot on his heels. I do firmly believe that. But hopefully we won't be worried about that. Hopefully he's going to go out there and ball, baby. Hopefully we're right around the corner. I can't wait till this weekend just to see what these guys are about this weekend. I feel like it's been forever since that week 1 preseason game, and I am hyped. Which reminds me, I will actually be on here reacting to that preseason game as well. If you guys want to hop on and join me, you're more than welcome. I'd love to hang out with you guys and kind of chat with y'all while we watch the game. If you're down, I'm down. I'll be here. If you're there, we'll make it a party. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and jump off of here. Like I said, I probably will end up recording that Brian Callahan press conference from yesterday. I am interested to hear what he has to say. I haven't gotten around to it yet because of work. But now that it is the weekend, TGIF, can't talk, hallelujah. We are no longer obligated. We got time. We got time to catch up on this press conference from yesterday. And we got time to anxiously await Sunday and then anxiously await the regular season opener in Chicago, baby, against Mr. Painted Nails himself. I am pumped. Pumped. I hope we go out there and shut up so many people. I really do. But, we gotta practice patience. New system, new players, new coaches, new, everywhere. It's going to take a minute to gel, guys. It's going to take a minute. Stay positive. And let's get this thing started, man. Football is here. Football has been here. It doesn't feel real yet, but it's gonna. It is gonna. But that's going to do it for me, guys, at least for this one. If you liked the video, please go ahead and like it. Subscribe to the channel. Let's hang out. And I will catch you next time. And I hope you all have a happy Friday and a wonderful weekend. As always, tighten up, guys.